You're listening to the Blacktop Banter podcast, the premier podcast in the asphalt industry, made for contractors with contractors.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Blacktop Banter. And forcibly making this one work, we've opted for the laptop and the old school version of how Marvin used to do Blacktop Banter. So we're making this one work today with my guy Kenny. You've seen us create some content lately. You've been following Royal Pavement Solutions online, and Kenspiration, as I like to say on TikTok. But Kenny and I go back a little bit of a ways. Things change and adapt over time, and we got him here today to share his story with us. So join us today on Blacktop Banter as we talk to my longtime friend, Kenny Roy. All right,
thanks for having me, Marvin.
Dude, it's good to have you on here. It's been a minute. I've kind of listen, man, I'm pretty big with enunciations and making sure that I say things correctly. When we first met, I was like, is it pronounced Wah or Roy? And you're like, well, it's actually pronounced Wah, but everybody says Roy. Right? Yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. So you're cool with Kenny Roy. That's what everybody said? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I tried to get back in school people to understand the actual, the French Canadian way to pronounce the last name.
Yeah.
And Patrick Roy, all-time hockey great goaltender.
Oh, yeah.
Patrick Waugh,
Oh,
and,
for sure.
I had to play that video of people announcers spelling his name out. And but no, Kenny Roy is more than acceptable.
Perfect. That's the only way I knew it was Patrick Waugh. I was a big Avalanche fan when I was young. But yeah, man. So you and I have been friends for a while. Some of our first conversations, you were like, hey, my family's been in the business for a while. I'm trying to figure out my path in here and do whatever. And like anything else, rough edges get buffed out. And then all of a sudden you find your lane, you start doing your thing. So tell us a little bit about your family, the history of being in the asphalt industry, and what you all do.
Sure. So my grandpa actually started a company. It was a sweeping company first back in '63. My dad bought him out. My dad might have been 16 or 17 years old. He was still in high school.
Okay.
And it was like, we could be so much more than just a sweeping company, right? Like all the landlords we're working for also need asphalt work. We need concrete repairs. So my dad and his younger brother, Todd, my uncle, they spearheaded that and basically said, we're going to take this family sweeping company, which was called Pam Sweeping at the time. Then they founded Powerhouse Paving. I think that was in 78 or 82, somewhere in that range.
Yep.
Decade later, their youngest brother, my uncle James, comes in, and then he grows it to another even bigger level. We started doing septic work and site work and all sorts of different stuff. Dang. So I was 9 or 10 years old the first summer I started working for them.
Okay.
First position was just sweeping the dust off the floor in the shop, keeping the equipment clean.
Yep.
Taking inventory of parts, like no asphalt skills at all. But I worked in the shop. I did that for 2 summers while I was in middle school. And the next summer, my third one, my dad was like, all right, it's time to go out in the asphalt crew, start learning something. And they called me Kenny the Tack Kid because my only job was to tack all of the edges for all the patches we were doing.
Okay. All right. I
was so small and weak, I couldn't carry the bucket of tack.
Yeah.
I'd have to bear hug it like this. I always had cut off sleeves. Even I'd have tack on my whole forearms, my biceps, everything. So they call me Tack Boy. So I spent the next decade, roughly, every summer in the field until I graduated high school, and then I went full time. My family, not known to me at the time, but my dad and my uncles were like, hey, the exit strategy here is looking like we're going to sell this to a private equity group. So let's structure it to do that.
Okay.
Part of that strategy for them was to bring me into the office to do sales.
Yep.
I didn't know how to talk to people. I wasn't professional. I was like 19, maybe 20 years old at the time. So I had massive amounts of growing pain. Now I'm learning how to price jobs, be a project manager, estimate jobs, learning all the finance stuff behind the business. But I didn't know they were planning to sell it. So in my mind, I'm like, I got to learn everything there is about this business. I don't have any cousins. I got no brothers. My sisters aren't interested.
Yep.
It's all on me now, right? So I took it super seriously. And then in 2016, my dad comes into my office and is like, hey, we just closed with a private equity group. We sold the company. It's out. It's done.
Dang.
So now I'm shocked. I'm like, okay, like what does this look like for me? What's going on, right? Yeah, you stay calm. Everything's fine. We're just going to work for the private equity group for a little bit. And then you can figure out what you want to do later on. Like, all right. So I worked for them for 3 years.
Okay.
Still in the same role. I took on a couple more responsibilities now that my family was kind of phasing out. Management started using me in different ways. But then I realized, I'm like, this relationship's not going to last forever.
Right.
And part of that private equity group strategy was to get rid of the ownership group previously. Like, they don't want them around. They want to do things their own way now.
Yeah. They have one goal.
Yeah, correct. Right, wrong, or indifferent.
Yep.
At the time, the end result is they wound up going bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
I did not even make it to the bankruptcy portion of it. They had gotten rid of me about 2 years before they went bankrupt.
Okay.
So when they get rid of me, 23, 24, something like that.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, I never went to school. I have no other skills outside of paving.
Right.
And it also happened to be something that I love. Like, I wasn't knocking that at all. I'm like, I love this trade. I've been doing it my whole life. If I wanted to do something else, I would have went a different path. But like, there's a reason I spend every summer doing this, and I took it so seriously.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'm still going to stay in asphalt, but I don't have any equipment. They terminate me, and I'm like, okay, what am I? I've got customers. I know what to do and how to do it, but I have no way to execute the jobs right now.
Right.
So, and this is kind of when we met, and I'm like, oh, here's an idea. I'll take everything I just learned in my career, and I'll go help other companies as well. Great. Perfect. I'll work with 5 to 10 contractors, and whatever their weaknesses were, try to fill the gaps.
Mm-hmm.
And then while also doing that, I was like, okay, I could still keep my customers and I'll subcontract out jobs. And now I could do that regionally, even I could take over the whole Northeast if I want to. That was kind of like the idea. I enjoyed it for like the year that it lasted, but it just wasn't, I wasn't passionate enough about it.
Right.
I was just so used to building and maintaining parking lots. And now I'm just like helping other people do that for their customers. It wasn't really resonating with me. And so prior to them going bankrupt, I had linked back up with Peter Pappas. He was also a sales guy. So like we were co-workers for my family's company. So we knew each other. We both went our separate ways. So like I'm starting Royal. He started a recruiting business actually during COVID. And then I connect with him one summer because one of my clients was like, hey, we really need like a VP of sales. We need a sales manager. Would you want to do that position full time? And I was like, not really. Like, I'm not looking to go to work for somebody else right now. It's not on my agenda. But the best guy I've ever known might be interested in relocating to you. I think of Peter. So I called Peter Pappas up. I'm like, hey, what are you up to right now? He's like, oh man, we started this recruiting company, but it's not working out with COVID. There's not a lot of new hiring going on. It's kind of in a weird phase. So I'm like, okay. I never even present that opportunity to him. I'm like, if you're kind of in limbo right now and I'm a little bit in limbo, I was like, you want to link back up and do some asphalt work together? And he's like, hell yeah. We'd be unstoppable. Yeah. Not 6 months later, though. So when my dad sold the business, he never sold the building.
Okay.
So he was the private equity group's landlord. He gets a letter in the mail basically saying, hey, January is our last month paying you rent. We're going bankrupt. We're out.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So they make this offer to the previous ownership who's basically like, do you want to come buy your equipment back? Because we're liquidating everything. My dad and uncles were retired. This is now several years later. Some of them are in Florida. My dad's doing all sorts of – they're not interested in buying their stuff back and trying to recreate what they had.
Yeah.
But I was in that infancy stage where I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Like, I'm not loving this consulting stuff. I want to go build parking lots and all the equipment that was sitting there. Yeah. So me and Pete look at each other. We're like, hey, killer idea. Let's go buy all that equipment. They won't even be in our way anymore. There's now a bunch of employees that are about to lose their jobs, equipment that won't be getting used, and customers who need somebody to service their accounts.
Yeah.
So massive opportunity. Me and Pete strike on that. And that's basically how Royal, what it is today, was born.
Dang, dude.
So that was in early 2021. So this is it'll be our 4th season coming up.
Yeah. No, it's sick. It's sick to see what you guys have done in that amount of time frame. We see like the social media side and everyone's like, dang, sick. But anybody who's in it knows like the work that it takes, the stress that it is. Like we see you guys having a lot of fun, and that's because the stress levels are also high. Like we have to counter that in some way, shape, or form, whether it's starting a podcast and talking to people and like venting that way, or creating fun content and doing that type of stuff. One thing I noticed about that story, like it's pretty common now, capital investment has come in, private equities come in and like did a lot in our industry within the last year and a half, 2 years. But like that acquisition, when your family owned their company, that was early on, dude. In it, like, so yeah, that company like ran it into the dirt, but that was like the tip of the spear from what I had ever heard on private equity coming in and starting to make plays. Now, they seem to be a little more efficient at it the way that it is right now. We'll see how it goes. I don't necessarily know if that's true. You never get to see the books or whatnot, but
Right.
I got a lot of friends. We have a lot of friends that we know that have been like, yeah, we sold out. Yeah, we sold to private equity. Yeah, we sold to private equity. And they're still on. Some of them are still on. Some employees are starting to like it's kind of funny to be able to be in a position to know you and know your family's story with their path in the industry, because there's some similarities starting where it's like, I've seen this before. It don't end well, but then you got other guys where that happened to them early on and they're like, yeah, it's been great. We have all the employees still, we're still doing whatever. So I think it really depends on who manages it and kind of knows what's going on for the most part. But it's a crazy story to hear, like what is happening now happened early on in your history, and then you guys like essentially like took the stuff that was the ashes of what they burned up and then are building this nationally recognized company at this point with you guys do on social media and whatnot. So I kind of want to ask you that, like, you guys bought all the equipment that was there, that was available, or that you wanted to buy to provide the services that you provide at Royal Pavement Solutions. What does Royal Pavement Solutions do? If I asked you, like, what does Royal do? What would your answer be?
Commercial asphalt milling and paving that also is really good at asphalt maintenance. That's our bread and butter.
Cool.
Everything else that we might perform is less than 5% of our overall revenue. So like, there might be some level of like our roots digging back to it. Pam Sweeping, the original company my grandpa started, eventually had like 14 or 15 air sweepers out every night. It was a big sweeping company.
Dang, that's preposterous, bro.
Yeah, they built something really large there. And then, so look, I don't love air sweeping. I don't consider myself in the air sweeping business. However, I have an air sweeping route. We're out 7 nights a week and 7 days a week portering. So like we still have that service that like I've got landlords that my grandpa was working for that I'm also still working for today.
Damn, that's crazy. Man.
So like that relationship, it changed, it moved over the years, and they were working for somebody else, and then they were having the P group service them, but it all came full circle at some point. And not all of the customers are I'm still working with. It's a mixed bag, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for those customers, I'll remove graffiti off their building, power wash their sidewalks. Like we do a lot of general building maintenance as well because
super smiles on their faces, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Super customer focused, right? Like if it makes my customer happy, I'm going to be inclined to do it, especially if I can also earn a profit from it, right? Because then it's like, okay, we've got a big mill and pave coming up. Are we going to give it to some guy we barely know? Or are we going to give it to the guy who literally is on his property every single day taking care of stuff for us and knows it in and out? Yeah. Gives us a little bit of a leg up there.
How many, if you had to, like, do you guys, like, get on one project, move to the next project, or are you balancing and juggling multiple projects at the same time?
Yeah, it's a good question. We could have up to 4 jobs going on at any time. It's never really more than that.
Mill and pave? Like mill and pave jobs at the same time? Or like a mill and pave job and a seal coating job and a striping job or whatever?
Yeah. This year will look a little different because we just hired like 6 more guys coming into this season. Our goal is to be able to, for this season, be paving while also having a building maintenance crew out there, maybe doing traffic signs and bollards, small stuff.
Sick.
And then while I'm milling, I should also be able to do any patchwork and seal coating of any size.
Okay.
So it'll be like 1.5 crews.
Okay. So for every asset of what you guys do, you can get somebody out there. So like we're milling today. The other side's paving today. The other side's seal coating. We got a guy with a pressure washer getting graffiti off there, doing whatever.
Exactly. The most hectic day might look like I've got a seal coat crew out in one job, an asphalt patching crew out at another, a building maintenance crew doing bollards, traffic signs, and then somebody out doing like a broom sweep or like a debris cleanup. Yeah. Because then I got guys all over Long Island, you know?
Yeah. It's not necessarily all hands on deck. We're milling and paving today. It's when you got them going 4 or 5 different ways.
Sure. Exactly.
God bless whoever organizes that schedule for y'all.
In my opinion, Dynapac CC900G roller is the best roller on the market for driveway and small parking lot paving contractors. The seismic technology in these rollers is unbeatable for the smoothness and compaction they provide. Take my word for it, or visit Dynapac.com to find a dealer near you.
Hey Blacktop Banter fans, this is Michael with Aquafault. Aquafault is the only permanent repair material for asphalt and concrete that uses water. And installation is simple. Just pour, add water, and tamp. It's that easy. An Aquafault repair can be open to traffic immediately and fully sealed within 24 hours. Visit aquafault.com to learn more.
I work closely with KM International to design what I believe is the best seal coating unit on the market. The Blacktop Banter Edition seal coating unit, available in both 550 and 700 gallon versions. Learn more about the unit by visiting kminternational.com. Quick startups, fume-free, automatic agitator shutoff, a splash-proof lid, and pumping on demand. These features are essential for any serious asphalt maintenance contractor. Elevate your game with the Crafco SuperShot line of melters by visiting crafco.com today.
Hi contractors, it's Kyla from Wiscoat. We use Stencil Plus for all of our pavement marking stencils. You can save 10% on your stencil order by using code BB10 during checkout at stencilplus.com or by calling 877-372-6055.
In the past year, Jobber has been our CRM of choice at Wiscoat, and it's made our world exponentially better efficiency-wise. For our small seal coating company, it has helped build the solid foundation we can scale from. Jobber is now a sponsor of Blacktop Banter and helps bring this show to you. With this partnership, Jobber is offering an exclusive savings to BB listeners of 20% off for 6 months. To take advantage of this, find the Jobber link in the show description and get to improving your process today.
What would you say your mission is at Royal? Like, what would you say your mission is?
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's a good question, right?
Yeah. So the mission statement from that private equity group, I'll probably botch it a little bit, but it was something like to be the logical and obvious choice in the pavement maintenance industry. Right?
They brought that in?
Choice. That was theirs. Yeah. And what did resonate with me, it's like, I don't necessarily need to be the logical choice. I want to be the most in your face though.
Yeah.
I want to be the most different. I want to be the most edgy. It's funny. I had another paving company call me up a couple months ago after we released a video of the dancers.
Yeah.
And basically say something like, what the heck were you thinking? Like, that was crazy. Why would you do that? I hated it.
Yeah.
In a respectful way. Like, it was all love on the conversation. And he's totally okay to have his opinion on it. You know what I mean? And I'll exclude any names, but basically I was like, yeah, but think about it. You woke up this morning thinking about me.
Yeah.
Because you saw the video. I didn't wake up thinking about you.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily from a pride perspective. It's that if we're in the face of all these asphalt contractors and those videos are not getting released to our customers and we're in front of them, we got an asphalt paving asset. I mean, Royal is just the first to come to mind because of all the type of content that we release. So that's kind of what we're looking to go after, to be the most different, the most edgy, and the most fun paving crew of all time.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a really high quality array of equipment, you have very high talented people. There's not that much that separates you. So like if there's, we're getting asphalt from the same plant, a lot of asphalt is made almost the same. We're putting it down with the same process, with a lot of the same machinery as everybody else. What separates? Well, probably the experience, right? It comes down to the people then. And dude, what has been resonating a lot with us lately is this idea of, hey, we also want to market to the people who want to work for us, not just who we work for, right? Our property managers, our property owners, those type of things. I want to work at Royal, dude. I wanted to be there with my phone out on the day when the dancers were there. Like,
Yeah,
it's fun, dude. It's culture.
right. I think along those lines too, right? So in that same conversation I had with a person who was like, hey, I hated that video. He's like, my crew would never respect that. Like they would look down on it. I'm like, yeah, maybe so, but that's not my crew.
Yeah.
The backup paving operator, Jose,
Yeah.
taught me how to pave. He also worked for my family's company. He's known me my whole life, right?
Yeah.
He knows that's just how I am as a person. So like when I do that stuff at a job site, no one's like, get a load of this clown. They're like, hey, that's Kenny. That's really who he is. And that's the guy that we enjoy working with every day. So to me, it builds us. It gets us closer. It doesn't rip us apart.
Yeah.
It's not causing animosity at a job site, right? So it's been massive from that perspective. But then also any youth that is looking to come into the industry. I've had multiple people that are in the college level right now who are like, oh man, I kind of want to relocate to Long Island and get some asphalt experience with your crew. Like you guys seem awesome. This is a construction industry that I might want to be a part of, especially if it looks like that.
Yeah.
So now it's like, okay, now we've got all these more options in terms of growing our crew and our staff. And it's like, I don't know. I think it's what you're going to release another paving video with cool clips of the equipment, cool music. We did a bunch of that too. That was fun, but it was not different. Everybody releases those kinds of videos.
Yeah.
Everybody's got equipment to get the job done. Everyone says, oh, these are the best paving guys around. It's like, yeah, we can all say the same thing. But the crazy videos, not everyone's doing that. So
no,
I think it's a big differentiator.
I think what you're showing is, so like, this is like what I've noticed the phase of social media. At first we posted pictures and then we talked about the pictures and then we posted videos saying what we were doing. And then we posted videos and pictures of sick work. And then those got highly edited. And then we started putting quotes behind them, right? And then all of a sudden Drake beats go over all the all the quotes and the work out there with the sick transitions and showing the asphalt going through the air slow off of a shovel, or a ramped up speed of a spray wand, then slow down and then ramped up. And it's like, okay, cool. The bar keeps getting set higher and higher. Now, like, that's not interesting anymore. Like it was interesting. And once the bar gets set there and that becomes the new normal, well, then it kind of goes down. What's next? The reason that content that shows like the in-between times, the interactions between teams, the certain characters that are on teams, right? Where we're like, hey, we want to see more about this person or that person. That's where we're at right now. And it's like, okay, we want to see the stories of these companies. That's what's keeping the people that are in the asphalt industry interested. It shows a candid look to your clients. It shows them a candid look of like, hey, these are just people. They're talking about their family. They're talking about, whatever. These are the guys that we want to support with what we do. And for the people that want to come work with you, this is where this is the atmosphere we want to be around. No one wants to be there in a grunt and just everyone saying, dude, it's so hot. It sucks. And that's it, right? It's like, dude, yeah, we know that already. Where is it not like that? And I think that's what comes into play. If I had to ask you, like, for our industry, what do you hope to accomplish through what you all do on social media? You guys kind of show the fun stuff, but you purposefully make fun stuff too, right? Like going through the Taco Bell drive up and getting a freeze, right? An aqua blue freeze. What do you hope to accomplish through social media?
Yeah. I would have to say Raised on Blacktop is at least a decent sized percentage for the motivation behind this. Because when Matt releases that brand and I saw that, I'm like, wow, this is a brand coming from a guy who was also raised on Blacktop. I grew up doing this, right?
Same.
I got two small kids of my own. And I'm like, everybody hates on the trades. And if you're going to hate on the trades, who's at the bottom of the totem pole is the asphalt guys. Right? Yeah. And so I hated that. And I'm like, all right, so now you've got a brand out there who's actively looking to change the landscape of that industry, which I will rally behind till the end of time. because I love what we do and I love our industry. I don't have the branding skills and experience to go start like a clothing line and do all that. Like, I don't have the skills and experience to start cool podcasts and like talk to guests. It's not my stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I do think I'm a decent personality who likes to have some fun. And 2 comments on this.
Okay.
At the same job site, 2 different drivers were working in Connecticut. 2 separate drivers on the same job site, unknown to each other. One guy says to me, I got to be honest. He goes, I'm not saying this to blow smoke. He's like, I've been driving trucks and hauling asphalt for 30 years. He goes, you might be the best paving operator I've ever witnessed before. He's like, you're ridiculous what you guys are laying down right now.
Get out.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. The same day, a different driver says to me, I got to be honest, you might be the happiest paving crew I've ever seen. Like, why is everybody smiling? Usually everyone's ripping each other's heads off and screaming at each other and being a bunch of assholes.
Yeah.
And that day I was like, man, I need to show more of this crew, right? Because we are really different. We are a happy group.
Yeah.
I talked about this at Ignite. Nobody has ever quit Royal Pavement Solutions. No one's ever left and been like, I don't want to work here anymore. They don't leave. It's a great place to be. So I was like, man, to help the industry, can I show some of that in our personalities and how we operate and our culture to be like, hey, asphalt paving doesn't have to be everybody yelling, kicking, and screaming, which, look, that stuff still exists, obviously.
For
right?
sure.
Things get intense at a job, so it's not always hunky-dory. But when times are good, it can be great. And when times are bad, we can just deal with it, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of our approach.
Yeah.
So if I could do one thing for the industry, it'd be hoping to shed some light on that aspect where it's like, it doesn't have to be like it was back in the day when I grew up. If there wasn't enough asphalt on the shovel, it's like, hey, you piece of crap, you're weak, you're pathetic, shovel harder and faster. What are you doing? And you're like, oh my God, Doesn't have to be like that, right? Like, we could still have a good time and treat each other respectfully, and then also lay an awesome mat. Hell yeah, and wear a banana suit at a trade show.
Yeah. So
yep.
Those who aren't watching but you're listening, I got a picture up of me and Kenny, which is blurry through this shitty ass webcam that I had to impromptu make. But this is us at a trade show. Kenny's in the banana suit, and I'm looking at him like, what the hell is going on here? One of my favorite pictures, man. And I think like that kind of embodies what we do. Man, we should be enjoying life and what we do. We totally should. Everybody should. I get it. Not everybody does. And to be honest with you, there's some people that if they have a problem with it, chances are it's because they have a problem seeing somebody else enjoy what they do. And it's in the exact same lane that they do it, right? They're just like, they get a problem with that because they're either like, that's not how it should be. It's like, no, that's just not how it is or has been for you. You're telling me that it should be miserable, that we should be yelling at each other, hating each other, and busting each other's chops, and every day coming through the door and going, no way, dude. Like, I want to come through the door and be like, let's get it. Right? Yeah. Cool. What would be one piece of advice, Kenny, that you would give, either you learned from your family or you learned from yourself through this process, that you would give all the listeners? And it doesn't have to be just about business or paving or whatever, but it could be anything. You have I think you and I both have a unique situation as far as family and what that looks like for us. I'm sure there's been some learning in that. So overall, what are some things that maybe you live by or piece of advice that you've taken to heart and that you stick to?
Hard work coupled with massive amounts of commitment can achieve ridiculous results. So I've had people say this to me before. And look, I'm all for recognizing what an opportunity may or may not look like. Okay, so you would never discredit the truth behind the opportunity. Man, you're so lucky. You are so lucky. Okay, so I'd just like to understand. I know a lot of paving guys who have kids my age who didn't go to work with their dad, who didn't put on work boots, who didn't bust ass, okay?
Yep.
That was luck? Or was I like, hey, if I get really good at this trade and I take it really seriously, just like someone else might take their schooling seriously to be an architect, I might be really successful at it. I'm going to work really hard and stay committed to that thing. And I want to become the best at that thing. Mm-hmm. It's tough to beat somebody who has that level of hard work and dedication to become the best. Right.
Yeah.
So you put those two things together in any aspect, no matter what it is you want to do. If you work as hard as you can to be the best architect that exists, and you're committed to that cause, and everything you do surrounds it, it's like, wow, it's going to be tough to slow you down.
Yeah.
So that'd probably be my one piece.
No, that makes sense, dude. That's a good piece of advice. It's like you go to your doctor and look at your doctor and say, dude, he's lucky. Like, no, dude, you know what it takes to be a doctor, right? You look at an Olympic athlete that wins the gold or bronze or silver and you're like, dude, they're lucky. It's like, no, dude, you know what it takes to get there. Years and years and years. Think about the tack bucket stuck to your arms, right? It's like, dude, like I say, Eli bathes in sealer when we're out there, dude. I'm like, I want to be like, are you serious? But then I look back and I think about how many times I had to wash my hands off with gas or, be scrubbing until my skin was red to get sealer or tar off me, or shoveling my ass off in the heat with, like you said, half a shovel full, because that's all my arms could carry, dude. Like it's been a lot, dude. And I think that's a good point. The hard work coupled with that dedication. Where can people find you online, Kenny?
It's at Royal Pavement Solutions on everything. I think we have a TikTok. We definitely have an Instagram, which is probably where we're the heaviest, release the most amount of content.
Yep.
No Twitter or X, whatever the heck it's called now.
Personally, you can follow Kenspiration on TikTok.
The Kenspiration. I was really consistent with that, Marvin, for 3 months.
I know.
I don't think I've released one in quite some time. I've been so busy, and I just kind of fell off the wayside with it.
It's all right.
Maybe this coming season we'll start.
I was going to say, we're going to get back into season. Just so you know, we're on season 3 of Blacktop Banter, and this is going to be our 5th year. So it took 2 seasons of like seasonal, and then 3 years I got to get a staff here, and we're like, okay, we're going to be consistent with this thing. There's nothing wrong with that, especially in our industry. Everybody knows that. So the other thing is you can find Kenny on LinkedIn and follow some stuff over there and connect with him over there. Dude, it's been a pleasure having you on there, on here today, for sure. You can always check out this episode on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere where you listen to podcasts. We should be there. Hop over to blacktopbanter.com. Check out our website. There's merch site there. You can grab some Blacktop Banter merch. There's drop-down tabs with the Blacktop Banter Success Group. The Success Group is a group of contractors. I think we're up to 30 in there that meet 3 times a month for Zooms. We talk about all types of topics. I think we're going to do tonight. We're doing mental health awareness with Dr. Aaron Craw from U-Turn Health, talking about the stressors of being in the construction industry or owning your own business in the construction industry. So we do that. There's a 24/7 chat group where we troubleshoot with each other, vendor discount programs, chance at national account work, meetups, all types of good stuff inside there. What else is over there? Our newsletter. Please sign up for our newsletter if you go to blacktopbanter.com. So right below it, when you get on the web page, you'll see a sign up for there. It's a newsletter written by contractors for contractors with some word from our sponsors as well. Please check out missionimpact.com. Mission Impact is a nonprofit in Guatemala that I personally support. I'll be going there this summer for 10 days. Maybe this podcast airs after I've already went, and you can follow me along there. We provide fuel-efficient stoves, clean water, and custom-built wheelchairs to people who would not have access to those things in Guatemala. And you can always find Blacktop Banter online. Anywhere you type in @Blacktop Banter, you can check us out on any social media platform. Kenny, I appreciate you as always, brother. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Marvin. It's good talking with you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So for myself here I am in the studio, but we're in a makeshift setup here today with a laptop, a webcam, and some headphones. Like we're rogue on the underground. But for myself and Kenny, as always here at Blacktop Banter, we speak asphalt. Peace. Hey everybody, Marvin here from Blacktop Banter. And if you enjoy the podcast and what we've been bringing to the industry, you can support us through a one-time or recurring donation at blacktopbanter.com. There we have a support tab. You click that and choose your path from there. If you listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please do us a favor and leave a review there for us as well. As always, we speak asphalt, and thanks for your support.